so
Full disclosure,
we've been drinking. Obviously, this is Chumming with the Spirits, episode 2. We've been drinking whiskey, beer, tequila. We got some vodka, more whiskey.
Diet Coke,
more whiskey. Bad pickle whiskey, which I don't recommend.
wow, yeah.
Yeah, it was horrible. But we would like to talk this episode about a phenomenon called the Black-Eyed Kids, which I don't necessarily have experience with, but I've done a lot of research on. Wrote a fictional novel about it.
I was going to say, you wrote a book.
Well, yeah. And in all honesty, it's I'll post a link to the
On Amazon
account, or not account, not the Amazon account, but the Amazon link to purchase. It's called The Children, Birth of Evil. It's a fictionalization of what I think the Black-Eyed Kids are. But let's go ahead and start with. I wanted to kind of get everybody's interpretation going around of like what they think the or should we start off with what we know about from research and hearing stories of what the Black-Eyed Kid phenomenon
We probably
is?
should give some reference what is a Black-Eyed children are and how they tie in. Because like the modern version is a little different than like the older.
Well, I can obviously say I've heard of it. I'll keep my shit short because I don't know shit about it. Just what I've heard. There's some kind of phenomenon that some kind of ghostly / demonic spirit that resembles kids with black eyes, pale white faces. Not the dots you put on your kids when they get online. You can cut that out. Saying that, I don't know what to think of them. I don't think I have a theory on what they are. To me, it was a lot of hogwash. You know me, I'm a guy like, if I don't see it,
It didn't happen.
it didn't happen. If I don't hear it, So obviously you can tell me all these great stories, but if I don't experience it, I'm skeptic of it.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think that's with most Americans. I would think.
You're Black-Eyed Kid agnostic.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, I like that. So saying that, if it did exist, listening to this guy talk about his book, not you, this other guy we just heard on this podcast that we cannot mention. He said if you help them, it's like inviting them in, which would be a bad idea, and he thinks it's more demonous. And I would, if I had to believe in that, I would say, if I saw them, I would probably think they're probably on the demonic side.
Meth.
Or meth, especially if you've seen the ones at Walmart, because you're talking about, you're seeing them at Walmart in the parking lot and they know your name. Now, we live in Kansas City. A lot of people know who we are, especially the people that are on meth.
How did he know my name? It's on your name tag.
Well, and plus, I have relatives that are on meth, so more likely. So I'll leave it alone. I'll shut up and I'll let you guys talk because you're more experienced on this issue.
Well, I mean, most of the stories of Black-Eyed children are the ones I've heard are mostly there's usually 2, not just 1, and they're asking for help or they show up. Like the parking lot is a more modern thing. Usually they'd show up in a road. They would show up. He was talking about them showing up and like knocking on the door.
Right. That's what I heard.
But the stories of children randomly showing up. It goes way back. Like he was talking about the early 1900s. They go way back into, there's stories of the green-skinned children showing up from a cave through a portal. We're talking medieval times and talking about just random. Japan has stories of white women with black eyes showing up on the road. There's
I love white women.
Yeah.
Well, she should have got out of line.
Yeah.
That's why she's walking home. The black guy. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying. So from the more modern interpretation is usually a kid or kids knocking on a window of your car, or you see them in a parking lot that they're like a omen of something.
Yeah.
And then you don't.
An omen as in like
something
the,
bad.
the winged creature that was on a bridge that collapsed. Is this the kind of omens
I mean, black dogs used to be omens for, somebody in your family could be possibly getting ready to die.
Really?
Oh yeah.
No, I never heard that as well.
You never seen the movie Black Dog with the trucker?
No, I've not.
Swayze.
Patrick Swayze.
Yeah, a great movie.
Yeah, if you look up omens,
Dirty Dancer had a great movie.
Yeah.
Okay. The only one I saw that was good was when he was playing some guy that's already out of high school in our country, getting attacked by Russians.
Oh,
Red Dawn.
Yeah, not Roadhouse. No.
No.
I love watching a
Outsiders.
ballerina dancer act like he's a kung fu dude and kick somebody's ass and rip his throat out in the middle of the lake. That was just so believable. I thought he'd be bigger. But anyway, I'm sorry. Go back.
But I'm saying, there's been different types of omens, owls, crows. Humans have been seeing creatures and saying, oh, that's got to be a bad omen, Irish with the banshees. And,
Okay, banshees, I get that.
yeah. So that's what, is it a demon? Is it just an entity? Are you just seeing stuff because you're high on meth? I don't, it's...
Okay, well, not to get off track, but what do you think a banshee is? Do you think it's a wailing spirit? Do you think a banshee is real?
Yeah, I think they are,
I think it's cultural too. I think it's
Culture, like, that would be culture to Ireland,
yeah.
the banshee.
So, I mean, that could be just a spirit of a family. That's
Okay, but the black-eyed children, from my understanding, is not geographically...
No, it's from Europe all the way across the
Yeah.
United States.
And it originated in Europe, is that right?
Yeah, there's stories of kids with black eyes or just weird skin.
centuries ago.
Yeah.
So what's your stance? I mean, obviously you read a book and you're trying to plug it because you're trying to make some money since you're broke as hell. So you make sure you get your plug in.
First positive comment I've heard about it. It sucks.
I haven't read it. I wasn't offered a book. Were you offered a book?
I bought one.
You bought one.
Yeah.
Boom. Look who looks bad now.
I haven't read it yet, but I own
spent
it.
money on you on pizza.
Yeah, sure.
I should have been given a book by now.
Yeah, it's about the same price as a pizza.
Yeah.
I think it was like $19.99 or something.
Jesus Christ. But if for a good read, that's worth a lot of money. I mean, it's definitely worth the value. I know this guy.
I think it's like $14.99.
But
yeah. It wasn't a whole lot.
But in the real world, what the hell, dude?
Yeah.
So when it
With
comes,
your research, go ahead.
Yeah, so when it comes to the black-eyed kid phenomenon, through the research and stories that I've read over the years, it's really interesting because they don't necessarily fall under the category of one paranormal ideal. It's really misunderstood of like what they are, who they are, why they're here. They Jeremy said, it's usually groups of 2 or 3 recently and in current times that people see. They're always usually dressed in the same clothing, so it's indistinguishable.
Usually older style,
Yeah.
Formal?
Like
formal dress. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I gathered from that guy who was talking.
And so you really
no
get
parachute
into
pants for you. Sorry.
Can't touch this.
You really get into sort of a cross barrier between all these different types of paranormal phenomenon that we know,
Kind of like
that we've read about.
Melding in on some of the
Yeah, so when you talk about their appearance, they have the black, matte, soulless eyes. They're usually described as smelling like rotten meat and disgusting, so people think, oh, they're demons.
Or relatives from Arkansas.
meth. Yeah.
Meth.
No baths.
Walmart, Arkansas. I mean, it's kind of all...
Yeah, they got a couple of
Right?
broke down cars and washer dryers.
I'm kidding. I love Arkansas. It's a beautiful country. As long as you just don't get abandoned and stuck there, everything's good. Go ahead.
Just don't squeal like a pig. You also get into the fact that they usually have pale skin. That they have to be invited into the house. Which what does that sound like to you?
Yeah.
Like a vampire.
Like a vampire, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. The feeling of complete dread and terrification. I don't even know know if that's a word.
Verification. It should be. If it's
He's up
not,
there, Arkansas.
we should really make that a word. Terrification. You should call your series Terrification. By Larry the Para-Chum Buchanan.
That people feel when they're in the presence or on the other side of a barrier from them can lead towards like a bad spirit, right?
But none of that makes sense. If they're trying to get in, why would they want to be terrifying and smell like dead flesh?
Exactly. Right.
Well, let me ask you, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Can I pause it for a second? So, what came first? The vampire?
The man.
Vampire? Or
The black-eyed children?
That's a tough one. The vampire wasn't really. I mean, the vampire really.
About 1100s, right?
Well, it
Yeah,
all
but
Vlad the Impaler, because he would impale his victims.
Yeah.
That was
But
the
then you also
beginning
have the Blood Queen.
That was bathing
Yeah,
in
that was
virgin
bathed in-
blood.
Yeah, virgin blood, sure.
That's a tough question. I don't know.
So I'm just, you think one fed off the
No,
other?
I think it's a amalgamation, because even the first vampires aren't what modern vampires are like
They
now.
don't sparkle in the sunlight like Twilight.
Jeez, Lord, that was horrible. I have a thought, but I lost it. I don't think it's from drinking.
That's just,
I think it's just from being old. So I guess,
I mean, yes, there's some things
So-
that lean to the same similar stories in that.
okay, so there's something called, something that doesn't exist, but if you believe in it enough,
But Tolkien.
okay, that it all something exists.
Yeah.
So,
You can will it into
Do you
existence.
think maybe this came off another legend like a vampire, and then they kept on believing, now all of a sudden these things appeared? Or do you think this is something that's always been around?
But how can you not say the same thing about a vampire?
Well, I've never seen a vampire. How many people said the same? Those who's like, okay, I suck blood, I'm a vampire. No, you're really just,
He's up there.
you're really a lost idiot. Those are not real teeth. You're really not drinking blood. You might be, but it's really not healthy for you. So saying that, I mean, seriously, can we be honest? I mean, do you think maybe it has something to do with that?
There's a possibility.
But okay, have you seen a vampire? A real vampire?
Possibly.
Oh, shut up.
No. Do you want me to tell you what happened?
You don't remember that story? Last scene?
Down at the scene, the Medicine Massacre site. You don't remember that?
I don't know. What
If
you
you-
told us, I don't know if
So,
you
you know the story. Maybe I wasn't listening because I thought you were full of shit.
So we were down at the
Maybe
Medicine
first
Massacre site one time. A couple of us, and
A couple of us too.
it was me, Jordan, and a female that was the bane of Jordan's existence.
Okay, we'll stop right there with you and Jordan because I've seen you and Jordan on a.
No, I'm sorry, not Jordan. It was Nathan. I'm sorry.
Okay, I've seen you and Jordan on
My
Ghost
bad,
Hunts,
my bad.
and holy shit, you guys just go off track like no motherfucker.
No. We have a.
No, I saw that chair move. Like, well, I got a camera on the motherfucker. I know it didn't move. So, okay, let's go ahead.
So we were out there, and if things were throwing rocks at us, and I actually caught a rock flying across the camera from behind us, and there was no one back there.
You caught it on film.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we decided to get in the truck and sit down and like just watch with the headlights off and the pitch dark and see, and we could see something run around in circles around the car like a shadow, and the whole car started to shake really violently, and we got scared and we're like, let's get the fuck out of here.
Did you film any of it?
That part, no, we weren't filming because we were just relaxing at that moment. So we decided to leave, and as I was driving out of the main entrance to the park to go down that little windy hill, both Nathan and I, because he was sitting in the front seat, saw this person just right off the side of the road, like probably as far as the camera is away from me to the truck, crouched in like the Spider-Man crouch. You know how they like crouch in the hand in the front and
Yeah.
one in the back, and he was wearing like this. It looked like a freaking trench coat, like a dark trench coat. And he stood up and looked at us and just shot straight up into the sky, and we never saw it again. So I mean,
Okay.
that may have
Were
been-
you drinking?
No,
Were you on drugs?
no, I don't take drugs.
Larry.
No, I swear to God.
And you actually saw this.
I wasn't there.
He was putting
You actually
his name's not Nathan.
You saw the son of a gun.
He did show me
shoot
where
up
it
in the air.
happened.
Yeah.
Like Superman. Just shoot.
Yeah, it was weird. He just stood straight up, looked at us for a second, and he didn't even like bend his knees to jump or anything. He just straight up into the air.
And Nathan verified that.
Yeah.
He saw the same thing.
Yeah.
What about the girl?
She wasn't even paying attention.
Okay. So, you know me, and I am not calling you a liar.
No, yeah.
But that is really hard to swallow.
We both looked at each other and were like, what the fuck was that?
Because, okay, if something like that experience happened to me, I'd be down every damn day.
We did go back. Actually, he's been back
I've been back there
multiple times.
like 20 or 30 times.
In that area.
Yeah.
Never had that experience.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
It could have been a person on meth. I don't even know.
So that made you think it was a vampire?
Dark shadow.
Dark shadow, trench coat.
Multiple, super high jump, fast movement.
So, that could be a plethora of things.
No, I'm just
Three
saying.
Amigos reference.
It melds into the mythology and the lore of what a vampire can do. But the mythology and lore of what a vampire can do is also the mythology and lore of what a lot of other things can do. So, and it could have been in our heads. Who knows?
Yeah, well, here's my thought.
Yeah.
I would say you're an ambitious / semi-ambitious, creative human being, which I just enjoy the shit out of you. I think you got a sweetheart. You're a very sensitive guy, and so saying that,
You're special.
childish for your really childish for your age,
I'm special.
which I completely did. Of course, I'm talking shit with all my voice back there, so I can't say too much. Saying that, why didn't you write a book on that?
Is that in your book of experiences? Which is
another
another book on Amazon.
Yeah, another experience.
That's a compelling read.
Well,
If it happened,
why haven't you wrote yours?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I cannot confirm anything that I've seen.
But you've seen it.
Without any witnesses, I have no documentation.
Oh, wait a minute. You were there with Grant. You saw it.
Me and Grant, Grant with a certain TV personality, person that investigates ghosts.
You guys saw
I
something.
did get to see something. He didn't see it,
Oh.
but 2 other women did. I'm not as
What about-
I'm not as ambitious as Larry. I don't write books.
Didn't you have something with Atchison? You caught a shadow with. Is that Nathan?
That was with Jordan.
Jordan.
Yeah.
No. So you're just crediting it because of Jordan? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, I think Jordan is probably the problem here. No.
I'm just kidding.
No, I don't mean that at all.
Sorry, Jordan.
Jordan's a pretty good kid.
He is.
He's got some crazy hair. But I dig him, man. He is who he is, right?
But he saw it, and you saw it.
At the same time. He actually had a mind of clicking a flashlight as it melted into the wall. And I had a camera on me the whole damn time thinking,
Why
the hell did I not film that?
You and I and your sons have picked up stuff with things answering with the REM pods.
Yeah.
EMF.
But I think that's more investigating. And I think if I wouldn't know where to start writing the book, to be honest with you. So
I'm just asking.
there's
'Cause,
that. So that's why. But he has this. He has this down. Well,
well, he's already got one book.
If I
of
seen
experiences.
if I seen something in the trench coat jump up and
Hundreds.
fly in the air, I probably would be living there. I mean, that's something I couldn't walk away from.
Because at that same investigation, I had my sister there, and she was talking about she felt like somebody did hat making, and the Oculus said mercury, which a lot of people, if you don't know, the early hat makers, Matt as a hatter, was because they used mercury to help form it, and that it caused a lot of mental issues. Even Rick was like, that's a word that doesn't come up ever.
I don't even know if it's programmed in there.
Yeah. So, but we were all there. We all heard that.
Right.
You know?
So we've all had experiences, right? Mine I cannot document, right? I can't. I don't have no documentation. I have no feeling of that. Even what I saw at the Stanley Hotel, I didn't film it. Why didn't I? Because I'm an idiot.
Yeah, but just because you don't have documentation doesn't mean that you can't share.
You have your
experience.
personal.
But it's a story.
Yes,
Exactly.
but isn't that what most books are? Is just a story?
Well, but,
I mean,
but since you are into writing books and so, why have you not published that like you did your other stuff?
I'll be honest.
And I'm not trying to get all Black Eyed Peas, but or whatever.
I got a feeling.
let's get started here.
I'll be honest. It's in the works because I'm writing volume 2 of the Para-Chum Chronicles, and it's one of the experiences, along with like 30 or 40 others that I have.
So now I kind of figure out why we're on TikTok now. We're doing this to promote his shit. He'll get rich, and then
I don't think so.
You know, he's gonna be the next Stephen King, and we're gonna be left out. This is a bunch of this is crap, brother.
So, one thing I wanted to bring up about what that guy was talking about on the podcast that I thought was kind of malarkey was that, well, it wasn't necessarily false. He said he only came across a handful of experiences where they actually let him in. I've only ever come across one where the person actually let him into the house or unlocked the door.
Yeah.
He didn't let them in the house. He said okay and unlocked the door. Immediately got so terrified and scared that he locked himself in his bathroom for like 10 hours or something like that.
After he let him in, he went and locked himself in the bathroom.
Yeah, and he was listening to them like rummaging through all kinds of crap, and when it finally calmed down after so many hours, he couldn't hear anything, so he came out of the bathroom and gone.
What kind of neighborhood was it?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
If I was living in South Kansas City, I let someone in my house, I'd lock myself in the bathroom too, until they left. I'm just saying, I would.
Well, but he was also talking about pets dying. I've never heard that part.
Yeah, right. So this is something they bring, like per this guy's podcast,
Yeah.
right? People getting really sick, losing family members, pets dying, and stuff like that. That's interesting. So has that been tagged into your Black Eye Kid research?
I've never heard of that before.
Okay.
That was all new to me.
That was all new to me. Yeah.
Okay. And so you have some experience in researching this as well. I mean, I'm assuming.
General folklore and things, because look, if you just stick within the United States, you have black-eyed children. There are little people. There are the ones in the mines, Tommy knockers.
The green children a little bit.
It's part of the paranormal stuff I've looked up over the years, and so I was familiar with the stories of it. Also was familiar with the older stories going back in the green-skinned children, and and then you have Japanese stories of black-eyed women on the side of the road, generally known as omens. That's what I'm saying is it is probably a melded together story over the years, but normally they're out in the middle of nowhere when you see them, and they approach you. And the new modern version of that is they're being seen in parking lots.
Yeah.
And then they're approaching people and knocking to try to get into some things, usually with them wanting help or wanting to come in. But there's a lot of spirits that represent that as well that aren't necessarily black-eyed.
Okay. So you think there's some kind of crossover between isolated places that are not busy, you see them where they're wanting in, and now they're in parking lots, because that one time that was probably empty land. You think they still exist because they're part of the land?
Or are they just attracted to people, and parking lots are a new thing? It's an open, wide area,
I think one of the most interesting things that I've read about encounters or experiences with them are the fact that they'll try to gain access to your house, but they'll ask questions that don't necessarily, they contradict one another. So they'll ask, like, can we come in and call our mom, or she needs to know where we are, so she doesn't worry. And then they'll say no, and they'll keep talking and asking questions, and then they'll say, but we need to let our father know where we are. And they're like, well, I thought you said you needed to call your mom, and stuff like that.
How do they know about phones?
How do they know about phones?
Well, let me ask you. Well, that was my next question, right? So, couple hundred years ago there was no phones. Right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So,
because most of them are talked about that
So
they have very formal
you think
clothes,
they're-
like early 90s.
they're developing with time then?
I think, yeah, I think if they're being melded in with modern stuff.
Yeah, and then the fact that they can, when they're denied enough, and people from the stories I've read, when people deny them enough and refuse them entry and close the door, lock the door, some people have gotten so scared that they'll go to like their bedroom or something instead of their living room, and the kids will immediately knock on the window in the room that they're in and be like, we need to come in and let
Well, that's vampire to me. I mean, that everything that brings vampire to me.
Another thing that
For Hollywood, right?
would lend towards the vampirism is I've read numerous stories of like security guards and stuff at buildings in remote areas having encounters with them where they'll knock on the glass and be like, we need to come in, and there's cameras covering the entire grounds
And they don't see anything?
and nothing, and they'll see them on the camera, and then the guard's like, I need to go call the cops. So they go and call the cops, come back, and the kids are gone, but you never see them leave on any of the cameras.
But they have the kids on the camera though, on the film?
Yeah. And then
Okay,
they just
Because the ones I've
so
seen,
you're saying
they
so
didn't catch any.
that's my whole, okay, well, that's my next question. Do we have film of these black-eyed children?
I've never seen one.
Yeah, I've never seen
Okay,
any come to
so all we know is, all we're getting is stories.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know
And
my opinion on
Yeah.
stories are.
And they're repeated. It could be a mass effect. It could be, as we talked about, manifesting these things
Yeah,
because of.
because you know how people's minds go.
Yeah.
Do you think it could possibly be the government projecting blue beam images and stuff into our minds to try to subvert our attention from something else?
Not with what's in
Either.
that's what's in the White House right now. I've
No, I
seen
mean,
that.
the White House has already said there's aliens.
They got,
They-
can't even get out of his bedroom, and he's locked in his bathroom for 7 hours.
I mean,
He didn't know how to even get out. So, oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, yeah, I don't think this is a false flag thing or,
Yeah.
Some
I'm not saying that drugs aren't involved. I'm just saying I don't think it's a government program.
So I'm not trying to cut this short, but what's your opinion? Is this real or not? Is this do they exist? Is this a bunch of people feeding off each other? And,
I think it's like any tall tale. I think there's probably something. There's probably an acorn of truth of something, but everything, it's like anything else, not all of it's real. I think some of it's manifested, some of it, you see something moving by and you didn't get a good look at
Yeah.
it, so you're like, oh well, some people go, oh, it's probably just a dog, or
Yeah.
the other person's going,
Or
oh
a
no,
car
they
drove by.
yeah.
And
So-
part of the problem with the stories that I've read are, and they're from today's day and age. Today's day and age is a digital age where you can find anything about anything, right? So one person reads a story about this and they're like, oh, well, I had an experience. Let me write it.
They'll manifest their story.
It's hard to find instances predating the digital era.
So
Does that make sense?
no, absolutely.
The modern editions of them.
Yeah.
The modern editions. of
Yeah,
it.
where it's a child with black eyes trying to get in, and like you said, talking about calling their mom, which means it has to be a modern version of it versus.
Yes.
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 Well, and we are a product of our current culture and day and age, right? So, who's to say that these things didn't exist hundreds of years ago, like you were saying, and
They just
did have occurrences and encounters with them, but based on the cultural beliefs and state of mind from that period, they were represented as something else.
and that could be because a lot of American folklore are actually based off of older stories
Exactly.
brought over from Europe and that.
Like werewolf.
Werewolves, vampires, things that go bump in the night in the Appalachians. They're all derivatives of Ireland.
But take for instance a Bigfoot. if we
That
were,
actually doesn't come from Europe, though.
but I'm saying, if we were in the 1600s in Europe, and there was a Bigfoot running around, what would they classify it as?
Wild man.
Yeah, well, no.
Werewolves.
Could be. Or dog man.
See what I'm saying? Like,
Big nope. Yeah.
yeah, that's a big nope.
So, the information you've given me, obviously I haven't read your book.
Both of them.
I'll get you a copy.
The information that you've thrown down on me, what little I know from the podcast I've read, stories I've seen, even TV, I'm gonna say it's just more likely just fabricated. I think it's just people's story. They read stories and they feed on each other. There's actually no proof. And me being the guy, I don't have my stance on stuff like that. Unless I see proof of it, I'm just not going to believe it.
And I would agree to some extent the odds of us seeing something like that are probably very slim to none.
But I do believe what you did say. There's probably a seed of truth of something that caused this to happen.
Yeah.
Well,
But-
and, as you were saying, I think if you go the route of, a demon taking the form of a child, trying to gain access to a person, there are stories of that going way back.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And what that guy was saying, which I would agree with, if it is indeed a demon trying to show an enemy, which we believe, if you believe in demons, that they do take on a childlike appearance to let your guard down and to you be more welcoming and trying to help it out, and you find out it's some malicious demon. If that's what those are, absolutely.
So
To that, I can get on the wagon with that. I can say, yeah, absolutely.
But again, that would be even rarer. People talk about demon encounters. That is actually really rare in supernatural paranormal.
So to close it out, I wanted to kind of ask you guys two questions. The first one is, in your life, if you were to ever encounter something like this, how would you handle it? Would you let it in?
No.
That's a big nope.
No. I'm sorry, you show up with black eyes, I'm just shutting the door. It's not.
What if they're just contact lenses?
Okay.
That's a good way to get kicked in the face.
Yeah, you're gonna get dropped. No, so people that don't know Jeremy, he has a lot of weapons. So that's probably something you don't want to pull knocking on his door, because you might get smoked, and if you don't, on your way out, you're gonna get shot in the ass. That's gonna probably happen. If I'm in that experience,
I just realized I need to get some silver bullets. I don't have silver bullets.
if
I need some rocks.
we can make some, right?
I know. I'm
make
thinking
some.
about this. Maybe that's a whole line that we need to look at. We can get holy
We can
water.
market that.
Yeah.
That would be
Wrought iron.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
iron shot.
I like it.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
So
Home defense.
okay, so if I have a child
Big
knock,
kids.
if I have a child knocking on my door asking for help, I'm a punk. I love children. I'm gonna open my door and say, "Come in." But
Three of them dressed the same.
Okay, well that's
black
my
eyes.
With black eyes.
Am I gonna be in a sober mood where I'm looking like, okay, something's wrong with these
Something
kids?
right here.
Yeah. So am I gonna? Are you telling me I'm noticing the eyes? I'm noticing the clothes.
Because that's the key thing about it.
Awesome.
Then absolutely.
Everybody notices the black eyes, that there's nothing in there. It's like
No reflection, nothing, still void
it's,
of.
it's not a shiny.
Yeah.
They're like a matte black,
So
soulless.
my wife would probably let him in. So I would.
I would probably agree with you.
Yeah, my wife. So yeah, dude, I would say absolutely not. I would if that happened to me, they're not welcome in my house.
What happens if you come home from work and she's sitting at the kitchen table, has let them in, and they're just standing around her waiting for you?
I'm kicking them out.
You can't at that point. You've already gave them access.
Oh, I can kick them out.
There's
I'm gonna find a way.
there's those that are showing. Have you ever thought of your wife? You see your wife and you think, damn it.
Yeah. Why?
Why?
Well, Larry, you brought so much shit into my house from all your shit that you've done. It never stays after you leave.
Well, that vampire's here.
So,
right now.
no, what I'm saying now is, I would get your ass over here. Hey, Larry, I gotta show you something. Yeah. Hey,
I got this new Teenage Mutant Ninja
It's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle that's very rare, and you have to come get it now.
I come over and there's no cars. All the lights are off, but the door's wide open.
Oh, you
just
still come in.
Hey, what's going on?
You would still come in. For that Ninja Turtle, yeah, you're totally coming in.
It's on the counter.
So I know that would leave. So I have a backup on it. It would leave with Larry.
So my last and final question is, because I kind of suggested this topic for this episode. What do you guys want to talk about next time? So we can start doing.
I think we should do. We've been talking about UFOs. I know that's a real hot topic with you.
UAPs.
Yeah, well, okay.
He's old.
So the new political UAP thing. All right, thank you, Skinwalker Ranch.
Oh, we should talk about that.
Well, we should watch some Skinwalker Ranch video. We probably shouldn't put that on video that we're gonna watch that. But anyway,
We can reference it.
we can watch some shows.
Did you watch this week's episode?
Yes, of
It was pretty interesting.
But yeah, I'm still hooked on last season where they were disappearing and that was just phenomenal.
Oh, I know.
It's like
But
like it was going into some kind of gate that was opening for it to go in. It
the
just
rocketry GPS this last episode.
That's weird.
Pretty compelling.
Yeah, a lot of that's over my head. I'm not gonna be lying about that. You know, I'm not. Am I gathering what they're saying?
Direwolf thing.
That's cool as hell.
Yeah, I thought that was.
But that's been around for.
But I think
That's part of that history of that.
So I'm gonna be gone next
But-
week,
yeah,
right?
that's true.
I'm gonna be in Florida. But if you guys want to do it when I get back, I would love for us to talk about UAPs or UFOs. Because I know that's a real hot topic with you. Because I know you still go out, you look, you search.
Searching for that anal
we should-
probe.
maybe, yeah. I'm not probing your anus. I'm not doing it. But he was a Navy guy. He might do it.
That's horrible.
It would. Well, I'm sure it would be.
God bless
But I'm videotaping it.
the armed forces.
Yeah.
You guys are saints.
You're welcome for my service.
That's horrible.
But if you guys want to do that, I think that might be a good idea.
I'm down for that.